So I've had a whole lot of people tell me that even if we need to know the phases of the moon, even if we need to pay attention to the moon in order to know when the new moon is, in order to count to the feast, to the moed, we don't need to do that for the Sabbath because the Sabbath is just continually cycling through. And so this morning when I woke up, I had the strangest thought in my head. I mean, literally, I woke up thinking, okay, Father, I get that we need the new moon to know when all of the other feasts are, because you told us, for instance, to have the Feast of Passover 15 days, the 15th day of the month, and the Feast of Tabernacles is the 15th day of the month, and the Feast of Trumpets is the first day of the month. So obviously, because the month is governed by the moon, we have to know when the new moon is so we can count that properly. So that's awesome. I said, but, we don't count to the Sabbath, do we? And then all of a sudden, I almost felt like the Father was saying in my mind, excuse me, daughter, what do you mean you don't count to the Sabbath? And he brought to my remembrance the commandment right here. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Oh, I don't like this translation. I just get so used to how the KJV sounds. Sorry about that. Let me just come back here. Okay. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh, your Elohim. And look at that. Here it is counting. 6 days. Oh my goodness. How did I get the fat one? Huh? We need the skinny one. Let me just clear that. That's so funny. Oh, this is how it happened. Okay, got it. I think I got it figured out. Let me get rid of this. Oh, technology. It just messes with me, I'll tell you what. So, here we go. So we have 6 days. Yes, much better. And then the seventh day is the Sabbath. Okay. So then I went back to where I started. I went back to Jeremiah, but before I go to Jeremiah, I'm going to Job. So Job also says, do you know the ordinances? Look at the word ordinances. It's hukot. Ot being the way to add the plural onto it, okay? It's the hukah, or the hok is the root word to this, okay? And what does it mean? Something prescribed, an enactment, or a statute. Look at this. So what are the ordinances of the heaven? What are the ordinances? What on earth is he talking about here? Well, it talks about it in Jeremiah as well. Let me just go ahead and clear these marks. In Jeremiah chapter 31, this is how I started this journey to lunar Sabbath to begin with, and to learning about the Moedim and all of those things, as I started here in Jeremiah. In Jeremiah 35, it says, thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinances of the moon and the stars for a light by night, which divides the seas when the waves thereof roar. The Lord of hosts is his name. If those ordinances depart from before me. Oh my goodness, my son is singing in the next room. I have no idea what he's singing. If those ordinances depart from before me, saith Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Okay, so what are we talking about here? What are these ordinances? I'm having a hard time thinking. What are these ordinances? Okay, see that? The ordinances of the moon. And then, as I went along, first of all, let's look at the word ordinances. This is a tie that helped me to understand better. So let me just clear this, and let's go look at that. Let me go to the interlineary so we can actually look at what is the Hebrew there. So going to the interlineary, we're going back down. Oh, wait, I got to do the whole chapter. And then we're going to go back down to verse 35. That's 39, 38, 37. Okay, here we are, 35. Thus says Yahweh, who gives the sun for a light by day, the ordinances. There it is. Hukot Isn't that just what we saw here in Job? What was it? Do you know the hukot of the heavens, the ordinances of the heavens? All right. So, and then it goes on, just so we can verify what we're talking about. If these ordinances depart from before me, says Yahweh, then the seed of Israel shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Well, that's a very strong statement. So these ordinances better not depart. So once again, this is ordinances. Okay? Hahukim. It's still the same root. Hok, something prescribed or owed, a statute. Same word. Okay? So these ordinances of the moon are important. And it's important that we understand what these hukot is. So then that led me, as I was doing my search, to Leviticus. So here in Leviticus, what does this say? Okay, these are the feasts of the Lord. He says, and Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, speak to the children of Israel and say to them, the feasts of the Lord, which you shall proclaim to be holy convocations. These are my feasts. Okay, if we go in here and we look at the word for feasts, what is the word? It is, whoops, let me click for the chapter. Okay, and spoke to Moshe. These are the feast. What is this word? Okay, Moeday. Moeday. What is the Moeday? Moed. What is a Moed? Appointed time, place, or meeting. And in every one of these, how do we know the appointed time? How do we know the appointed time? We know it based on the new moon. We have to count to the place in the month where it's going to occur, okay? These are his appointed times. These are his moed, okay? And what are included in these moed? Let's just take a look. So let me go back to KJV. And what does it say? So we have the moed of Yahweh. What are they? The Passover, the first fruits. Whoops, we're skipping one though. What does it say right here? 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest, a holy convocation. You shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of Yahweh in all your dwellings. Okay? Speak to the children of Israel and say to them concerning the moed of Yahweh, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my moed, my moedim. What are the moedim? It includes the Sabbath. Here's the Sabbath right here. Okay, 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh is the Sabbath of Yahweh. Look, we're counting, all right? Here we go. The Passover, right? And the Passover is the 14th day. But I want to show you something interesting about this. So if we come into here, it says, let's see, 14th day of the month. Actually, let me come down here to first fruits. Yes, okay. This language is actually there for the Passover as well, but just not in this chapter. I'd have to pull up another chapter, but I want to show this to you, okay? Look, what does it say? It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations. Let's go now to the interlineary, because I want to show this to you. That is in verse 14. Going back to here. Sorry, I have a really hard time with using technology sometimes. So let's go to the interlineary. We're going to come down here to I got to do the whole chapter. Come down to verse 14. I thought I chose the whole chapter. Junk. There it goes. And we're going to come down here to 14. So that was 15. All right. And it says a statute. What is the word for statute? Huko. Hok. Same word. Something prescribed in an enactment or statute. What did it say over here? The huko of the moon, right? Let's go back to there. I'll actually put this back in. I'll take it out of interlineary so we can read it easier. So coming back down here to verse 35. Oops, I thought I took it back to KJV. Come on, computer, keep up with me. So coming down here to 35, thus saith Yahweh, which giveth the sun for light by day, and the ordinances huko of the moon and of the stars for a light by night. What does it say? If those who depart from before me, says Yahweh, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. Okay? What does this say? Do you know the huko of the heavens? Right? So, same wording. So now coming back over here to where were we? I think we were, nope. Gotta find it. Okay, right. So this is huko, and we got it out of here. Okay, this will be a statute, a huko, for you in your dwellings for all your generations. All right. Lest we think that that is the end of that, let's go down to the next one. So coming down to Pentecost, it says, this shall be a statute forever in all your dwellings and all your generations. That is huko. I can go look it up for you, but I'm just going to tell you on that one. Then if we keep going down, it says right here, let's see. It shall be a statute, huko. If we go to 31, look, we'll just do it this way. Statute, huko, right there. Same word. Okay, then if we keep going down, the Feast of Booths, let's go ahead and scroll down. It shall be a statute, here it is, verse 41. It shall be a statute, a permanent huko for all your generations, all right? So here are his moedim, his appointed times, the ones that are governed by the moon, his huko of the moon, as it says right here in Jeremiah, the ordinances of the moon, the huko of the moon, okay? These are them. He put them all together so nicely right here in Leviticus 23, and it starts with the Sabbath. That is the very first one that's listed. Let me go to a different translation and see if it sets that up a little better for us. No, it still doesn't. But the first one is the Sabbath, okay? These are my moed, the appointed times. What appoints the times? What is the timekeeper? The timekeeper is the Yarea. It's the moon, okay? These are the huko of the Yarea. As a matter of fact, if we go back to Jeremiah 31, we can pull that up. I want you to see that this is not, sometimes they'll use other words and then translate it as moon, like they'll use Lebanon, which means white, but they'll translate it as moon because poetically that's probably what it's referring to. But I want you to see, okay, who sets in order what? The ordinances of the what? Yareak, moon. This is the actual word for moon, okay, which is month, okay. These are the huko of the month, and just like you number these days to know when to perform these ordinances, it is exactly the same in the case of the Sabbath. It is 6 days shall you work, and the seventh is a rest. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. It's just something that, like I said, jumped into my head as I was pondering these things. And you get the same, hang on just a second. And I just wanted to mention to you, so this is the very first occurrence of the Passover and the unleavened bread. They're still in Egypt. This is Exodus 12. So in the very first occurrence, notice that it says, okay, and this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast to Yahweh, a moed to Yahweh. Throughout your generations, ye shall keep it a moed by an ordinance, a huko, forever. 7 days shall ye eat unleavened bread. Once again, it tells us what days we're to do it, and all those days are based on the moon. I just going to make a point here. See, here it is. Hok or huka or hukot, depending on, how it's being used. There it is. Same thing. Something prescribed, an enactment, or a statute. These are the huko of the moon, and that includes the Sabbath.